up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of That Is Scuffed Up. Welcome to what we are calling some new things and what we are going to be showing you in this show. So we're going to call this kind of a new era, but more or less, today is an important day because it's a man's birthday as we are recording this. His name is Stephen Hayden.
Oh, I'm a man now?
Yes, from a boy to a man, he has now reached the quarter mark. Stephen, happy birthday, my man.
I feel kind of bad. We didn't do this for your podcast. I don't know if we recorded when it was your birthday, but
Who cares about me?
that's what I tell myself all the time.
Damn. Oh, well, this got really dark real fast. Jesus. This is a great way to start the new series of episodes, man.
It's been a long day already.
Heck yeah, man. What we got in store here? We got some birthday plans or something? You getting any gifts or something like that?
We have baseball in the morning, baseball in the afternoon, and baseball tomorrow. That's about
Blessed. Blessed, baby. 3 baseballs in a row. Let's go.
it. We are leaving for Arizona tomorrow. We're going to play on our for our conference postseason tournament. So we'll get to see how we do out there. But Westcliff, we finished fourth out of 5 we finished fourth in the conference out of 8 or 9 schools. It got kind of confusing because Antelope Valley no longer it stopped being a school during the middle of the baseball season. So I believe it was 4th out of 8 teams, if I'm not mistaken. So we get to play. We get to play in Hohokam Stadium, former spring training stadium of the. I think it was the Royals or something like that. It was the former stadium of one of those teams, but get to go traveling out there tomorrow in real time. Probably when this podcast is up, we'll be on the bus heading on the way out. We'll see how we do. Absolutely.
Did you say a school disappeared halfway through the season?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look up the if you or anyone's interested, look up the situation with the University of Antelope Valley.
Interesting. I haven't heard of this till now because I don't really follow much about what's happening in NAIA baseball. Yeah,
it was kind of weird what kind of happened. There was a lot. We could talk. I could talk about this for a while, but I don't want to bore you or bore everyone else. If you're just look up what happened to Antelope Valley. Basically, the school was kind of failing, and instead of paying their teachers a salary, they were paying them in stock of the school. And so then because they couldn't pay the teachers money, and so then all of a sudden they made the school just start doing worse and worse, and they stopped supporting any sports programs. I remember the big one they did. There's a news article about it. The basketball team, the men's basketball team, they were right at their conference tournaments right when the school shut down. So all the players had to pay out of pocket. All the coaches had to pay out of pocket to be able to. I think they traveled up to Oregon or Washington or something for their NAIA qualifiers or something like that. That was entirely out of their pocket. I mean, they were coming home to no school basically. So
that is actually
it was kind of a sad situation. But if you're interested, just look up more of that.
Yeah, they apparently raised $40,000 on GoFundMe to continue their operations through that tournament. Me looking it up right now. Yeah. And then they officially shut down on Friday, March 8th. That is wild. That's actually wild.
Yeah, the baseball program didn't continue. We weren't even halfway through our season yet, so they didn't continue on. But basketball, they were nearly there, so they just kept going.
My goodness, that is a crazy story. Anyways, yeah, if you want to check that out, that's a pretty interesting story. I mean, that's stuff we talk about on this podcast. I mean, even though it's not wiffle ball related, it is definitely baseball related stuff, and we like to mention a lot about what's happening in the sports world. Obviously, if you're joining us, the Lakers are so far 1-3 right now in the series versus the Nuggets. Barely surviving.
They didn't get swept. That was the main thing. That was the big thing for them. Just don't get swept.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get swept. The NFL draft has already gone by. We've seen a lot of new teams. Obviously, Steven's very happy with the state of the Chicago Bears right now. I am too.
Well, always. You're happy with the state of the Bears?
The Packers. Sorry, not the Bears. I always hope for the downfall of the Bears. Unfortunately, the Lions though. Interesting team, and the Vikings are also loading up, but they probably won't be as great as I think a lot of people are thinking they will be. No. Probably going to take a few years.
I would think so.
Yeah. If you're also wondering why Steven's camera quality looks spectacular, guy has got some new equipment that he's showing off today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, little early birthday present, a little bit of investment for myself. Actually, a little bit from Anthony as well on some stuff, but got a new action. Got a new not a GoPro, but it's the DJI Action 4. I couldn't even plug in. I couldn't even plug in this my new portable mic set if I want to,
Hmm.
but I'm not doing it. I mean, I got the good the Yeti Bluetooth mic over here, so no need to plug in those mics. But I got some new gear to be able to work on. I'm doing a lot of stuff with baseball with the SoCal Mavericks in terms of recording their games, live streaming their games, stuff like that. And then you might see some of this stuff out of football as well. I got a hat mount. We'd be able to do some mic'd up stuff and things like that. So should be interesting.
Definitely will be, and I mean that's it's that scuffed up revenue. You know what I'm saying? Like we always get.
Yeah, we're trying to get that LA Wolfers revenue. That scuffed up revenue. We're trying to get it up. We're putting the investments in, and we're gonna this. I think this camera looks good so far.
Yeah, no, it looks great. The quality is up. You look great in that chair, and then obviously the blurred
Well,
background is nice as well. I
not
mean,
sure about looking
we
great,
can't
but
see the stuff that you put behind you with the basketball
good,
hoop right now, so that's probably
good.
good. Um, we've also got some special new things happening in terms of where this team is going. I know we're eventually going to preview what the summer team's going to look like. So just to give you a little teaser, there may be some new threads coming out at some point, but I'm going to leave that there at that point and not really share too much information about where that's going. But unless Steven has got something to say about that.
No.
Okay, we're leaving it at that. Anyways, so just to give you kind of a preview structure of what's exactly happening from now on, it's just we're going to be touching on OCU football just a little bit. If you missed the last episode or didn't watch it all the way through, you can definitely check out more about those details. But we're also going to be talking about what's happening in terms of wiffle football in general. A lot of what's like, for example, there was like a few tournaments over the weekend that occurred. SoCal Wiffle Ball was a part of it. We can also talk about SoCal Wiffle Ball's playoffs right now. As we're talking, the second day of games is also up on the YouTube now. You can go catch that later on after this episode if you continue to watch with us. We'll also talk about the MLW draft, which we will eventually get to. And we'll give you a little preview of OC Wiffle Ball and what the state of the league looks like right now, because there is a lot of new teams this season in terms of the summer league. So that's kind of a glimpse of what we are looking at overall.
Yeah, get a lot of different stuff relating with fast pitch, with the SoCal speed, with our speed, with OC football and things like that. So, um, yeah, just take a look at different stuff and get out of the old pattern of get into a new pattern and get rejuvenated to do this again.
Right, exactly, and it'll definitely help us like keep everybody informed about what's happening in wiffle ball, and it also keeps me informed because like obviously a guy like Steven knows more about this stuff than I do because my busy schedule, I don't have a whole lot of time to be able to follow everything, but I try to follow as much as possible about what's happening with the football stuff and paying attention to all the stories and everything like that. But obviously he runs a lot of the Instagrams for SoCal Wiffy now. Or I'm sorry, yeah, SoCal Wiffle Ball. He now is helping me run the Instagram for LA Wolves of OC, and
Finally figured that out.
yeah, we got that straight away. So he's gonna be helping me out with that, as well as just making some graphics and stuff whenever, and also doing the show. And then obviously we're gonna try to get some more special guests on here. Eventually we will get some newer people like Tommy Hernandez. I know he's at the top of our list right now, and eventually he will be on here. But without further ado, let's take a look at OCU Wiffle Ball since we're going to be starting off on that topic, just to give you guys a little preview of what's happening. So last year, obviously, we had to squish the Division 1 and Division 2 people into one league called the Orange League. This season, we actually do have enough teams to be able to split them into two, so we do have the return of Division 1 and Division 2 back here with us in OC Wiffle for this summer season. And, I mean, we're already getting into the third week. This week, they don't have any games because we're just taking a break pretty much. So
Yeah, well, yeah. So this, as we're talking, the 30th of April for OC, while there are no games going on, schedule conflicts. They're doing there's a big softball tournament going on for this week, so there's no wiffle ball at all going on. This has been a week off for a long time. I was given some of the schedules first, given out at the beginning of the year and things like that. So no games for anyone this coming week. So we'll come back on the 7th and get back to playing.
Yes, we will, and gives us some time because obviously we kind of jumped right into the season, especially for our teams since we just played the World Series, including the Trash Pandas. Like we've kind of just jumped into this like week 2, so it does give us a little bit of time to rejuvenate, recollect, and get ready for the rest of the season because we're probably going to be playing a lot more games in frequency each Tuesday. Because of the one Tuesday that we missed. And then obviously also the Sand Series is also coming up at some point, which the league is also finalizing, which should be a fun time. Hopefully I can make it because I know I'm going to be missing 2 weeks of wiffle ball, and hopefully it's not during one of those weeks when I'm gone, because I would certainly love to do that, and I like doing the vlogs for those trips that we go to San Diego.
Yeah. I mean, those are fun trips. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if there's even the OC Summer Ball, the OC Summer Classic or something like that to be able to add on to that. I mean, I know I missed a week of it last time, but try to see if the OC can go back to back. If that's going to happen, we'll see.
Yeah, certainly, and obviously maybe we'll get some of the similar help. I don't know because it's still early. We don't know exactly whether that's going to be a finite thing or not. But we've had some help in the past with just setting up that tournament in general and getting things straight up and. Yeah, obviously, this is kind of the new source for most people who are just joining us, and some newer folk who are joining us from around the world or the nation or whatever. Because obviously, I think the whole goal of just us talking about other stuff is also trying to get other people to watch this who aren't part of OC Wiffle Ball. But obviously, it is nice to go back to the roots where we started on, and why the reason why we started the podcast in the first place is because of OC Wiffle Ball and so forth and beyond from what we usually see. So it is very nice to at least go back and talk about it. So let's start off with the Purple League first off. Don't know too much about these teams because we haven't really played against them. We don't know a lot of these people per se.
We're
but
going to.
Yeah, we're going to. We just don't have a lot of... we do have a hint of what some of the teams and where they come from. I know one of the teams who's in... believe Division 1 right now is like a couple of guys that Tyler Moore and Zach Moore know personally. At least that's from what I hear. At least a few of those guys on that team. So they kind of got those guys to come in here and play. So we'll get to them in a second because they're Division 1. But the Purple League has got kind of the similar teams here. Pancake Batters, Beach City Babes are the teams that are right back in there rocking it. Obviously, Beach City Babes, Tyler... said he's not going to be participating in that Purple League this season. So Will Control's the guy with the rest of their squad in that team. And I don't know if this is correct or not, but on my end, when I'm looking at the website for the standings, it looks like there's 2 teams with the same name, but they have different logos, like Ducks Roll Tide over Clemson or something.
I think it is 2 different teams. I could be wrong because I do remember. Ethan Raffman has a team in the Purple League, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. But yeah, from what I know, there are 4 teams here in the Purple League. So that we've gone from 3 teams last year to 4 this year and things like that. So I'm just trying to take a look at the previous schedule. We have one of those should be. I think there was just input wrong on the website. One of those, I believe the bottom one should be called Blue Shell. Okay. That's the team that Ethan Raffman runs and things like that. So I think it was just a mistake on the website, just accidentally putting in that one.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so those are those new teams down there. In terms of thoughts, I mean, Blue Shells are an interesting name. Right now, they're at the very bottom, but we know what Blue Shells do in Mario Kart is they go all the way up to the first place and knock those guys out, and then they screw everybody else over if you're close enough to the Blue Shell, which would be very ironic if that actually happens. But yeah. I don't know. What do we think about these 4 teams? I mean, obviously, we know Ethan Raffman's a guy who's in there. I believe his girlfriend is playing with him, right? On that team. So, getting some little free time, little fun time for him and his girlfriend on that team.
All right, relax there.
I didn't say get a room. Actually, Ethan Raffin wanted me to bring this to attention, and I know he's probably going to be watching this, but he apparently had a really good performance in the playoffs, and he wanted me to talk about that. Had a multitude of home runs in those games.
This is from last season?
Yeah, this is from last season. He pitched really well in that.
We talked about it. We talked about the game 1 was an 8-6 game.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty close game overall between them and the Trash Pandas. Yeah, because I remember talking about it was a pretty close game, and that Ethan and David did do well on the mound. And the second game, things kind of fell apart, but I do remember talking about that.
He wanted me to emphasize it, so I was like, okay,
Okay,
I'll do that for you, man. So here you
all
go.
right.
But yeah, enough about the Purple League though. Moving on to Division Two. This is a new look here with the Division Two people. Some of the same teams. Whoosh is in here. Avocabros have been put in Division Two for this season. I believe that was based on their choice to want to be in Division Two. I believe. I'm not sure. I don't know the details about that. But it looks like 3 new teams in Division Two. We got See These G's, Los Toxicos, and Devil. I don't know if I'm saying that. I think Toxicos, but I want to say like with an accent, so Los Toxicos, and then the Devil Rays.
You want to see taquitos?
Los Taquitos. Sorry,
Oh my God.
I should probably cut this part.
It just sounds like you want to see taquitos.
Spicy and hot, chicken and pork. Los Taquitos.
Los taquitos.
The Devil Rays are cool. I've seen them the last 2 times that we've seen them throughout the weeks. They wear those cool old-fashioned Tampa Bay Rays uniforms. Those ones look really sick. So they've been wearing that jersey a lot, so they're kind of recognizable from afar. So those are basically some of the newer teams in there. Usually, what's interesting is that when you get new teams, they usually start off in Division 2. Division 1's an interesting case, but there is one like new team in there, which we're going to talk about in a second. But in terms of Division 2, though, like what are the thoughts here? And I mean, obviously, I guess the big one is that Whoosh is obviously the front runner here, right?
Looking at this, not the way that they've played so far.
Yeah.
I mean, they've only had one game lost. They did lose a close one, as Donald mentioned last week on the podcast to See These G's, who's a bunch of people Donald knows. And the Avocabros are killing it right now. I mean, so far in 3 games they've scored 80 runs and only allowed 12. They're off to a flying start. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, we both predicted Avocabros to win the World Series last time, but. Should be interesting to see how Division 2 shakes out with these 5 teams.
Yeah, definitely will be. We'll be following close about it. Nice to see Avocabros, who are actually doing really good right now at the time we're recording this. So, props to them. But Division 1, now we get to the big time division here. We have pretty much the usual suspects. We got Beach City Bombers are back here. LOFs of OC as usual. Trash Pandas are right in there as well. They just started their games this week. They had 2 of them. Ball Busters is the new team that I was mentioning about. I think those are the guys who the people on Beach City Bombers know personally, and then obviously the OC Wiffles of LA are in there. But obviously we know more about our own teams because we have a couple of new guys who are playing for each team. So give us a little discussion. I know there's a former baseball player. I know there's a guy we know very well from some of the tournaments we played in, but I'll let you introduce some of those newer people.
Yes, had some guys had to leave. James Lee gone, Dominic Caroni gone, Austin Cutter gone. Dominic's gone for this season at least. He'll probably come back next season. But had to find some new guys. I got free agent Andrew Fierro, former Whittier College baseball player. He played there for a little while. Now he's getting back into swinging the bat and things like that. He got a good swing on him. And then you have for the LOSOC, you have recently brought in Brian Owens. Guy from the Upland area who plays a good amount of fast pitch wiffle and has played some SoCal wiffle as well. So he's been brought in. We're still trying to figure out a 5th, but and you have teams like Beach City Bombers who have their same roster plus plus Zach Moore, I should say, from their championship when they won the championship season back in last summer. He was on the team. Trash Pandas looks like it's the same. Seems like the same roster. OC Wiffles I already talked about. And then Ball Busters is the one that we're kind of figuring out. Supposedly we're supposed to have 2 new teams in Division 1, but that's not the case after one team was not doing their thing and coming out and things like that. So we're here with 2, and here we are.
Yeah, there was a team up there on Tuesday, if I remember, that kind of showed up late. I think they were kind of just sitting in the dugout. I think that might have been the team that was supposed to play Division One or
I don't
something.
know. I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you.
Okay, yeah, that's apparently that's what I was hearing from some of the other guys. But yeah, they've had some scheduling issues or just maybe not make showing up on at the right time or something like that. So yeah, I mean, if I'm wrong, then I guess there's supposed to be 6 teams in Division One, which will be very interesting to see how those go as well. But I guess the big one is just having the fact that the Beach City Bombers have Zach Moore returning this season, which is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're off to a good start. I mean, they already took down and beaten the Trash Pandas this previous week. Already have a run differential of +39. They beat the Trash Pandas 13-3 in a game where Trash Pandas beat them the previous 2 times in the spring season. And Beach City Bombers are clearly hungry for something. They've built a pretty good super team. It seems like getting Zach Moore back in there with Tyler Moore with Jordan Dressler and stuff like that. I mean that's a huge big three right there.
Hmm.
One unlike really anything we've ever seen in this league. But we will see what happens as we continue on throughout the season. You know, last time we had a team that was nearly undefeated. The LSFC took them down. So I made sure the LSFC were the only other undefeated team throughout the full season. So we shall see what happens as we continue along here.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll check back in eventually because that's obviously part of the new way we're doing it. Is we're gonna check back in mid-season, do like our mid-season predictions, do our mid-season award winner predictions, stuff like that. That's kind of what we're gonna be doing with OSU, but obviously we're also keeping up with some of those headlines on what's happening and giving you guys the full news about what's happening with the league and stuff. But yeah, pretty much that's kind of it for OSU Wiffle Ball, and then we'll talk about all the other stuff right now. Okay, so we talked about mentioning some of the other stuff in the recent part, and obviously when we're recording this, there's a lot of new things that have been deciding to happen. So, especially those things in terms of OC football, is just the change in the schedule and whatnot. Obviously, we're getting right back into it with week 3 with wiffle ball and OC wiffle ball, and recent emails just came out that the schedule for the summer 2024 season just got switched up a little bit. June 11th, which was previously a bye week, will be now be a regular season week, and it'll be played at Huntington Beach Sports Complex. If you don't know that complex, I've actually played there before for a stretch of 3 weeks temporarily because we couldn't get the parks on the schedule for, I think it was
It was the fall season.
the fall season. Okay, yeah, it was a fall season. Played on this little like grass or no turf field for about 3 weeks, and then we headed right back to the OC Great Park, and I guess we're gonna be making a return back there. So a little return tour back to the good old Huntington Beach Sports Complex.
Yeah, that we will. You know, the first time, it might have been a little bit cramped with the 4 fields going on, but with 3 fields, I think things will be going good again, and we'll see what happens.
Right, and then also the
Of course,
playoffs.
you won't be there, but
I won't be there. Yeah, I'm gonna be taking a trip through the lands of the Japan. Um, but anyways, so the playoffs will also take place on Monday, June 24th, and Tuesday, June 25th. So just a little quick update with the OC Wolfball stuff and just how that is going. Some fun times going on in OC Wolfball, but the world of wiffle ball is starting to really kick into high gear. SoCal Whiff, if you haven't noticed, at the time of we're recording this, they just made the conclusion of the 2023 season.
finally.
Yeah, right. And now with the Llamas and the Phoenix, that series has come to a close. A whole series of 6 games in total. And we have a new champion in SoCal Whiff. No, Steven, you were working a lot of those games when those games were happening. You're actually in the background for some of the video too, getting the video of the final hits and outs and whatnot. I guess walk us through just what happened in those final games.
Yeah, you can see me in the background of those videos. You can see me often in the intros of those videos. I think in all 3 of the World Series videos, you can see me in there. But the final 2 games of the World Series were just uploaded today, and based off the result of the video, means there was a winner crowned, and that winner ended up being the Bomber Llamas. which do have a couple of faces on the team, which or no see with football. You have like the likes of PJ Gordon and Mitchell Downey on the team, along with their full roster included Trent Lyle, a big player. You had Brett Eisner, you had Dylan Lack, and you had Jordan Lee, brother of James Lee, who didn't play at all, but is what it is. And the main players were PJ, Mitchell, and Trent in this for the Llamas in general. But they take down the Phoenix in 6 games. Very, very weird and interesting 2 games here. Mitchell pitched game 5 for the Llamas and really kind of shut them down, to be quite honest. Shut down the Phoenix, who had probably the best offense in the league. Overall, they were just struggling to hit. This was being played right after games 3 and 4 in terms of time wise. Probably started about 5 minutes after, just little recording stuff like that, and get stuff switched around and see who's pitching, all that stuff. And Phoenix were not able to hit the 30 to 40 mile an hour pitching of Mitchell Downey at all, which is interesting to see. But Llamas ended up getting the win in that one. And then the second game, you get a great matchup in PJ versus Cannon. And things were going pretty smoothly for both pitchers, not allowing zeros until the second inning. I think it was two outs and 2 strikes. So PJ ends up hitting a 3-run home run, and then 2 walks. Trent Lyle hits a 2-run, only counted 2-run, but it was a 3-run home run for himself. Ends up kind of breaking that game open. The Phoenix were able to get 1 in the top of the third, but Llamas were able to hold on. Win their first World Series, the second ever SoCal World Series, and in a very interesting season, very long season, and a very interesting World Series.
Definitely seemed like it. Just for context, because I know these videos kind of come out at different times, but the World Series technically finished on how long ago?
Probably about a couple months ago, probably sometime late, like middle March or something like that in terms of real time.
And there's usually the World Series, like for these games, without the delays, is usually supposed to be finished by...
Well, everything's usually done in the summer.
Okay.
So the whole the whole season is usually done in the summer. There are some delays in terms of some teams kind of delayed stuff in terms of not being able to get some guys out there, or they didn't want to play without their full roster, things like that. And then there were some situations in which some guys were going for college that went earlier than Dustin would have thought. It was supposed to finish like late August. Things kept getting delayed. I remember I last played a series in like the end of July, and then I didn't play again until like February or something like that. It was a lot of bouncing back and forth between are we going to play, are we not going to play, things like that. A lot of waiting around. I had a couple random series played here and there through the months of like September through November, things like that. And then the playoffs didn't even start, in terms of real time, they didn't even start till the start of 2024 and things like that. So very weird situation. It is what it is. Some different fields being played at. Just made overall for a very long season, but excuse me. At the end of the day, we are glad that it was able to go through, glad that it happened, and also kind of glad that it's over and we can continue on with the 2024 season coming up in a bit.
That's right. Yeah, gotta kind of get that going a little bit early than what it usually is, or just because you guys have to get that thing going as fast as possible, correct?
Yeah. Some stuff has already been in motion. You'll have some other videos coming out as well. Some other stuff we're going to talk about here that's going to be out on videos, as well as things like the awards show. You'll have any tournament videos from the SoCal 2023 year during the summer, and then you'll also have things leading up to the season, such as the draft, team interviews, spring training, all that stuff before we actually get into the real season. Where I'm not no, it has not been announced. So overall, we've still got a good number of videos before we get to the 2024 season.
Yeah. Which when the draft comes out, like that video comes out, I think that's probably the big topic too, because there's a lot of people that we know that are going to be entered in this draft, and then a lot of the people that we're talking about are going to be joining teams and whatnot, and hopefully most of them do get in there. But that'd be a nice little piece there. Um, I don't know if we talked about it the last time though. Like when we talked about the games 3 and 4, there was like that weird cut between what was it, like game 3 or something like that. Like it was just funny because you see, it's like went up to like the second or third inning, and then it cuts to a different field, and it's like daytime. It's kind of funny just to watch that part.
Yeah, well, that was that day was a nightmare in general. Not just for the series, but also for me. So that's we started off in the same place as the day one video was taking place. And it was a park in Fullerton. Went back to that same park. Nobody was out there. We started around 6:45, but we were expecting lights to turn on, but they never did. So we got 2 innings in. It was getting too dark. We decided to move to a different area, like one of the softball fields, all the way on the other side of the park, where they had lights. We set up the field. We were probably about 5 minutes away from starting to play, and it was 8:30, and the lights turned off. So we just set up everything for nothing. So we had to put everything back in the car. And we just had to try to set up for another day. And of course, that was also the same night. I was driving home to record some podcast with you, and I ended up getting pulled over. So that's how that's how it all kind of worked there. I still have to take care of that, but that's not a football story, and we're not able to talk about that. So we ended up having to continue this another day. Actually, in terms of time, this was the same day we did the. Was it? Yeah, it was. It was the same day we did the continuation of the game 3 of the LA Wolves Beach City Bombers playoff game. We did game 3 at the park, and then I went straight from there to Fullerton to help out with the rest of these games here. So that's why you see a little break in the action in a different park and things like that. That give a little background and me getting pulled over for the first time.
he wanted
Not
to do
the last.
Wanted to do it's not the last. Damn. He wanted to do a little fast pitch on the freeway is what he was trying to do.
I was frustrated. Yeah, it was a frustrating night in general.
Yeah.
Things overall were frustrating. I was trying to drive home and get home in time to start recording with you for this, and of course Scott pulled me over. So
it's pretty late in the night too, which is kind of sucked.
Yeah, and he got me good. He didn't let me off, even though I'd never been pulled over in my life. He went straight for it.
Well, knocking on wood, so I don't get.
Yeah, if he wants to donate to my GoFundMe,
Steven's ticketing GoFundMe. Help me pay for my thing, please.
Please.
I'll put it in the description below. You can.
I wish.
You can help him out. Do it. Well, I guess anyways. Congratulations to the Bomba Llamas and PJ Gordon and obviously all those guys on that team. And they didn't have Jordan on that team because he was drafted but didn't show up due to other circumstances.
Given the fact that he's 11 years old.
Yeah, no car, no ride, no money, no light. But they've been looking for a title for a while. Obviously, the LA Wolves of OC had a chance against LA Wolves of OC in the other league. We took that one. Very nice. And here we are on the offset of which should have been the end of the 2023 season. Now we're getting around into the 2024 season for the SoCal Wiffle Ball. So things will be interesting. But one of the other things you wanted to bring up was the MAW tournament that... obviously Dustin Staggs is a friend of ours on this show. We've had him here before. A couple times, yeah, that's right. A couple of times we've had him here on the show. Went out to this tournament, and we'll probably put the clip here of one of those clips later. What we'll get to when we discuss it. But took a team out there, SoCal team. They usually indulge themselves in a lot of these tournaments, especially right around this time of year where the tournaments are really starting to kick into high gear. But Steven, obviously you're a guy who knows what's happening around that aspect of the world. So please share.
Yeah, well, given also the fact that I am a big part of the team, and I've played with the team a lot this past year. I do know a good amount about it, talking to Dustin, things like that. Um, I mean, I did not go on this trip because I was still. This was the weekend of April 20. This was April 27th. This tournament happened, and the next week I had baseball playoffs for Westcliff, which we could talk about later if we wanted to, if we're really bored. But I had baseball playoffs next week. I was finishing up my baseball season, so I didn't want to pay all that money to travel out there and possibly or hurt myself for my chances at baseball. So Dustin was able to get a good group together. It's a good group in my mind. You had Dustin Staggs and Ethan Johnson, both SoCal natives around here, both had gone to US this previous year. You had a couple of Vegas guys who we lost to in the finals of the 2023 Winter Classic in Logan Christie and Trevor Bauer. Although one of them ended up not going, which we'll get into a little bit. And then the final two members of this team, you had both MLW players from one from the St. Louis area, one from the Michigan area. You got Jackson Pearson, who plays on the Western Wildcats, and you got Sawyer Bean, who is on the Great Lakes Gators. So that was the six that was made as a team. Um, Except for the fact that Trevor Bauer was unable to go. I believe he pulled his calf like a few days before the tournament, something like that, something along those lines. So he was unable to go. There was a little bit of a scramble to try to find the sixth person. A couple names were put out there, but at the end of the day, nothing was able to happen. So they ended up going with that with that group minus Trevor Bauer. Had a bit of a tough draw. First game going against the team that we've played before in the Las Vegas Whifflers. Except they had their full team, not just the two guys like we faced at one time. The Las Vegas Whifflers for their first game. Another game was the New School Risers for their second game. The third game was against a very good and underrated and kind of new team in TC 35. First game, SoCal lost that one to the Las Vegas Wolfers 4-0. Pretty close. Fourth inning, Las Vegas got to Ethan Johnson while he was on the mound and started putting the ball in play and hitting a couple homers off of him. Second game was a bit of a doozy, to be honest. I was watching these live on Instagram as they were happening. Second game ended up going 9 innings for a 5-inning regulation game, or I don't know if it was 4 or 5 to be honest, but I think it was 5. For a 5-inning regulation game, this one ended up going 9. Here's where you can put in that clip. You have Dustin Staggs getting a game-winning 2-run single to put SoCal over the top. New School Risers did score a run in the bottom of the ninth, but Jackson Pearson, who pitched a great game that game, shut the door. 3 strikeouts out of the game, and he threw that whole game only allowing that 1 run. And then game 3 versus TC 35. TC 35 had their main guy going, Connor Jaso, who I've heard can touch upper 90s, possibly even 100 as well.
What the hell?
They needed a win to be able to try to advance. SoCal did too. Ended up being a 1-0 game, relatively close game. Bats were quiet for both teams, except for 1 or 2 hits from each side. And at the end of the end, SoCal finished with a 1-2 record in this tournament. Ended up not being able to make it out of the pool play. Basically, you pretty much need to go 2-1 to make it out of pool play. And unfortunately, with that draw and bad luck, they were unable to advance into the rest of the tournament. But from what I heard, it was a great experience for them overall. Good way to ball with some different guys to see how different guys do in different situations and things like that. Dustin's and EJ's first time playing out there in the Mid-Atlantic Wiffle tournaments in that league out there. Ended up being a very good tournament overall, and we'll see what kind of talks Dustin and SoCal and me and SoCal Wiffle get with these kind of tournaments for the future.
There's probably going to be a lot more opportunities to do so, especially with the SoCal League doing some. You got the UWIS starting to happen as well. Like the Upland tournaments are just right around the corner too. So ample opportunities for that. Mid-Atlantic Wiffle Ball is usually a lot more competitive, especially when you're talking about the teams coming from the East Coast, because those teams are really, really competitive and they produce some of the best wiffle ball players in the entire nation. which is set
Yeah.
for sure. They produce guys for MLW as well, so there's a lot of people for that league as well. So speaking of the MLW as well, they just started their season too, so they're like right into it. Eagles and Magic, they had that video come up as we're speaking. Eagles swept the World Series champs all 3 games, man. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, things getting heated up. Things getting started off in the football world. Things are starting locally. Things are getting started around the country. I mean, no, kids are start. People are starting to get off of school. I just got off of school last week, so people are starting to get off the school. Some are starting. Someone else has 2 weeks left here, but
Yeah, I have 2 more
figure it
weeks.
out.
Hey,
Uh,
UC's have a quarter system. They have like 6 weeks left, man. They're gonna be there for a while.
well, that's on them. They
Higher
need to figure it out.
educations, nerds.
And, and you have to figure it out. Or I think some Cal State stuff has some quarter systems. Has some schools that are quarter system as well. So I think my sister is still in school right now for like another month or something like that. But
What?
anyways,
It's
yeah.
insanity. Well,
I could be wrong. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, if you're Antelope Valley, then you've been out for a while now.
Yeah, you've been out for a while, and your education doesn't mean jack.
That's wild. It was ever since we talked about this story since we last recorded. I read that up. It was ridiculous, just the amount of details that went into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole school just like literally got abandoned in the middle of the school year, and now it's just nothing. Which is funny
Yeah.
because my school played a basketball game against them, and I had no idea there even was a college in Antelope Valley, and now they just don't exist. Like they just went Thanos snap, like it's gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got another, actually, since in between when we last talked about that and now there's actually another school that was in my baseball conference. Same thing is happening as well, or a very similar thing.
What?
Yeah,
What school is this?
it's a school in San Diego, the University of St. Catherine's.
Oh, I've heard of them before.
Yeah, they are filing for bankruptcy. So yeah, you keep learning stuff every day.
My goodness, that is ridiculous, man. All these
Yep.
schools. It looks like a fairly nice campus too, in some ways too. Shit.
Yeah, I remember hearing their baseball team. I heard at this tournament this past week, their baseball team was going to be around, but I also just recently found out the school is not going to be around either. So
Wow. My goodness. It's actually ridiculous.
yeah,
Well, it's
is what it is.
in light of wiffle ball stuff, because well, like baseball. You talked about the whole West Coast stuff happening because we know a lot of people from that team as well. Obviously, the head coach of West Coast baseball is Dylan Hoffman, and coaching with his brother Drake Hoffman, and obviously some other people that we know that is on that team as well. And then obviously you're on that team as well.
Yeah, I am. It was a very interesting week. It's a very very long week. So last week we played in our CalPAC tournament, a postseason tournament. We came in as the fourth seed out of 5 teams. Meaning we had to play 9 a.m. on Wednesday, which was
Yeah, yucky.
fun to week off for, given the fact we had to leave the hotel by about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We left. I think we did the first part of this recording like on a Sunday. I left Monday. To drive, we drove out there. Tuesday was like a practice and kind of a free day stuff. Then Wednesday we played in the morning. Won our first game 6-3 versus the 5 seed. But that did mean we had to go play the number 1 overall seed in Benedictine Mesa University. Gave them a good run for their money in the second game. We started down. We had our ace pitch in that game, but we quickly went down 4-0, and he came uninjured. So who better to call out? Who other to call out on the mound than myself? I came in on the mound, pitched a couple of scoreless innings. I
Nice.
actually got the lead while I was pitching as well. We ended up we were leading 6-4 for a little while. They score a couple runs, make it 7-6. We have a clutch triple, making it 9-7 go into the top of the 8th inning. We're up 9-7. Ben Yu scores one more to make it 9-8 in the 8th inning. We had a chance to add on the 9th inning, run it first and third, 1 out, hit into a double play, which ended the inning. And then Ben Yu got 3 base runners and got three straight hits, ended up winning the game 10-9 on a walk-off single.
Ooh.
Tough game, a tough way to go out, especially since we were right there. That would have been huge since Ben U was the number one overall seed coming into this. And they were like something like a top 25 or top 30 NAIA baseball team in the country or something like that. So it's one of those we should have had them, but alas we didn't. Meaning we had to come back. That was on a Wednesday. That all was on a Wednesday. That was all one day, by the way.
Yeah.
We had a 9 a.m. game. Then we had a 4:30 game versus Ben U. Next day we had to come for a 2:30 game versus a team who just avoided elimination in Simpson University, which is like a 9-hour drive from here. It's in like Redding, California, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up having a really close game with them. Ended up going 11 innings. We held on to win that one 6-5. Very, very cool moment, very emotional moment for all of us. But since we did lose that game on Wednesday night, it means we had to play. We played that game at 2:30. That probably finished around 5:40 or so. Then we had to play. We had to play Ben U again at 6:30. So no break at all. No rest for the weary. But it seemed like we kind of ran out of gas. We ended up getting. It was like 15-2. We lost to Ben U. So overall, a pretty good run for us. It's the most. It's only our school's second time making it to the playoffs as a baseball program, and it's the most number of wins we've had in the postseason. It's the furthest we've made it. We finished as the third best team in that tournament. So overall, it was a pretty good tournament for us. I pitched pretty well in that one game. I was pretty much hot for every single game. I was warming up a good amount, but only got to pitch in that one game. So look forward to see what we got for baseball next year and with ball now.
That is true. Yeah, the transition is happening, so now you can save your arm a little bit in terms of just not throwing wiffle balls and baseballs every single time.
Yeah, we'll see. I gotta figure out my baseball schedule, see what I'm doing in terms of throwing and things like that. But wiffle ball I'll be floating. We'll be getting going with things. We've already been going with OC wiffle ball.
Yeah.
We'll get going with other stuff as well with the SoCal League, hopefully in a little bit, and then we got some tournaments going on in the next couple of weeks as well. So. Gotta get ready for those. Gotta get you ready for those as well. Gotta make sure you're ready and good to go.
I gotta close my textbook and pull out the bat and get ready for that stuff.
Yeah,
2 more weeks.
2
more weeks.
Yeah, I need to get some practice in there with you, especially for fast pitch.
Oh yeah, that is very true. It's funny you mentioned that not a bad thing. It's a bad thing that your team got walked off, but Chapman got walked off against Cal Lutheran this past weekend. That also knocked them out of the playoffs, so they're out as well, off of a bloop single up the middle in center field off their best pitcher, which was terrible to watch because they needed that game to be able to at least have a chance to get in. Because if they won that game, because they won the next game after, if they won that game, they would have had the head-to-head, and they would have been able to make it into the playoffs just by that win. And Cal Lutheran managed to walk it off.
Well, figure it out.
Yep. Cal Lutheran's actually.
Figure it out, Chapman.
Cal Lutheran is champions of the SCIAC last year, so them making it back in there is kind of big. And they're not even the best team either. It's the best team for the past 3 years has been University of Laverne, who's been completely dominant every single year. And then Cal Lutheran decided we're gonna get hot at the middle of playoffs, and then they won the entire tournament, which is nuts. So, but that's just how baseball and wiffle ball works, I guess. Just it doesn't matter whether you're great or bad. When you get to the playoffs, it just matters who's the hottest team.
Well, yeah, we've seen it a lot, especially wiffle ball. There's a reason before the winter season, no one seed had ever won the World Series in OC wiffle ball, or even in SoCal wiffle ball. The Llamas had a 5-5 regular season record and were a 3 seed going into the playoffs. But they got hot at the right time. PJ Gordon. Mitchell Downing took his walks, and they all contributed to a World Series title. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Are you saying SoCal wiffle ball has never had a first seed team ever win it either?
No, they did.
Oh, okay.
The first season, just not this year.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was like, maybe we should make another team.
No.
But yeah.
It happened anyway.
Yeah. Okay. That's good then. Well, obviously this episode is a little bit more short, a lot less content, but there surely will be more once we really get into this wiffle ball season, which is just turning around the corner. And obviously, the SoCal Whiff is going to come out with more content. The draft video is going to be out at some point. And then we're going to talk about our OC Wiffle Ball stuff at some point as well. But yeah, not too much. I mean, this is not that crazy of an episode. It's just kind of.
Well, we were never going to make it for a 3 hour, 45-minute episode, anyways, like last week. But...
Well, we didn't have special guests too, so like that probably helped it a little bit. It's a long video.
Yeah, it was. If you watch that whole thing, I feel sorry for you. I'm not gonna lie.
You deserve a medal if you watch that whole thing.
I'll give you this wiffle ball right here.
Are you gonna sign it?
No, that'll make the ball worthless.
Wow. I understand the self-worth now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nice though, because that video at the time that this is being recorded, nearly at 30 views. So one of our better videos that we've seen in a while since the.
Yeah, we have to check the numbers. See, like, the average watch time was like 30 seconds. They just watched the outro.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, if it's like 30 seconds, then it's like, oh yeah, people just like looked at it for like 2 minutes and they're like, okay, I'm.
That's most YouTube videos, to be honest.
It's true, especially the podcast, man. Especially the podcasts.
Yeah, if you're still here at this point of the podcast, we appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, it is hilarious as heck. But yes, if you're here, maybe we'll tell you a secret thing. No, I'm just kidding. We won't tell you.
No, we got no secrets right now. Maybe for the future.
But yeah, that is true for the future. Yeah, well, I think that's gonna be it here for this episode. Very short episode indeed, but we'll have more eventually in the future. And obviously, you get to see Steven and I more, and you can see his nice little camera view. Still trying to figure out mine for whatever reason. Dude, average viewer time 17 minutes 38 seconds. Not bad.
Wow.
Not bad. I mean, it feels like
not me.
Yeah. It's more than 2 minutes, so like it's not bad.
That's good. That's good to see.
Yeah, love it. Okay, well, let's stow it and get rid of this outro and let's get out of here. Steven, Justin Lee here on That Scuffed Up, episode 47. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and have a nice night.
Okay.